Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, taking a look at a 7-round 2023 NFL mock draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers. These are some of the more fun videos I have. Obviously, I kind of specialize in the evaluation of these college prospects that are heading to the NFL draft, and then I get to talk with a lot of NFL fans who know their teams a heck of a lot better than I do, and kind of talk about position fits, giving you guys some information on the potential what are these prospects about, and you guys kind of filling me in on what position fits, how you want this Pittsburgh Steelers team to look. So again, I appreciate the support you guys have shown. If you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. More importantly, I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. How do you think the draft went? What other positions do you think you need to be addressed? And if you're a college football kind of guy like me, talk about some prospects. So I appreciate it. Again, if you enjoy the content, consider subscribing. The mock drafts I've done for the Pittsburgh Steelers kind of off air have been really fun because I think this draft lines up very, very well for the Steelers. You look at the positions they want to address. Offensive tackle and cornerback are probably the two positions that come to mind. It's a very, very talented class for both. And what I'm leaning toward, and we'll talk about it as this draft unrolls, is you got pick 17. I think I'm leaning offensive tackle with this pick because this cornerback class is extremely talented. And so if you don't get a tackle, like taking a look at the tackles that are available at pick 17, I love Broderick Jones. I love Anton Harrison. Those guys are kind of my tier 1 tackles along with Peter Skoronski and Paris Johnson Jr. After those 4 tackles, I think there's a little bit of a drop off for guys like Darnell Wright, Matthew Bergeron. So I'm leaning to kind of take a tackle with this pick because you look at this cornerback class, and I mean, on my big board, I have 6 cornerbacks that'll be top 32 picks, and guys like Cam Smith, Joey Porter Jr. I mean, Devin Witherspoon is extremely hard to pass at with this pick 17. He's my cornerback 2 in the class. I'm a massive fan of him, but Eli Ricks, Keely Ringo, Emmanuel Forbes, those are all guys that are very easily top 40 prospects. And so I'm leaning to take tackle in round 1. And when you look at what tackle is the best fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers and what they want to do, it's really hard to argue it's not Broderick Jones. He's a guy that when he was a true sophomore, they kicked Jamari Salyer, who's having a phenomenal season or had a phenomenal season for the LA Chargers, in the guard to start Broderick Jones at left tackle. And then he plays his junior year, and he's phenomenal. He's a guy that has one of the highest ceilings, maybe next to Paris Johnson in this class. He still needs some work in pass protection, but he's an absolute road grader in the run game, and that's exactly what the Steelers want to do. But he has the athleticism and the chops to become an elite pass protector as well. I think it's really hard to pass Broderick Jones at pick 17. And again, now you're looking to address that cornerback spot. And I will say Trenton Simpson here sitting at pick 32 is enticing, but I think this cornerback class is just way too talented to kind of pass on. And you're looking at what cornerbacks I really like. I love Eli Ricks. I like Keely Ringo. I even like a guy like Jalen Jones, who's probably going to be a top 50 guy as well. If you're asking me what cornerback I'd want for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm leaning Keely Ringo. He's a guy that came into the year as a kind of bona fide top 15 pick. He's 6'2". He's 210 pounds. He came into college as a top 5 national prospect. And, I mean, 210 pounds, he's going to run in the 4.3s. He's got great ball skills. He's got great long speed, and he's got great size. The one thing that's kind of knocking him down these boards is the fact that he's not necessarily the most fluid athlete in terms of changing direction. If you put him more in his zone coverage, you let him use his athleticism, keep his eyes on the quarterback, I think Keely Ringo will be a very, very good cornerback in the NFL. If you're leaning more towards a guy that's a little bit more fluid in the hits and can kind of match up in man coverage, Eli Ricks and Emmanuel Forbes are probably the smoother movers. Eli Ricks is very, very close to Joey Porter on my big board. I'm going to go with Keely Ringo because I'm going to bet on the traits, and Keely Ringo is a guy that he looks like a linebacker out there playing. And again, if you can work on a little bit more fluidity, I think that would help his prospect ranking a lot and how he's going to perform at the next level. But give me the traits, a 6'2", 210-pound cornerback from the University of Georgia. Those guys seemingly pan out in the NFL. And again, I like Keely Ringo's game a heck of a lot more than PFF seemingly does. Pick 49, you could be looking at linebacker. Kind of want to take a look at who's available at this linebacker position. Deion Henley from Washington State is very good. I'm leaning on passing on a linebacker right now and taking some more value here. You look, they still need some work on the defensive line. They still need some work on the edge. So probably passing right now on this linebacker and kind of looking a little bit more at this edge position, and there are some really good edges who are going to be available. Felix Anudike-Uzomah is criminally underrated by PFF, and I almost don't want to take him at 49 because he ain't going to be there. He's a top 30 prospect, I think, on my board, and he's certainly not falling to like the mid-second round. I like Zach Harrison a lot. I like Carl Brooks. He's a very interesting prospect. You're probably going to go with Felix Anudike-Uzomah, and you never know how the NFL values edge rushers. But Felix Anudike-Uzomah is a guy that he's a third-year guy, so he's very young, but his game is so complete in terms of what he has in the bag of the pass rush moves. Like, can win outside with some quick twitch and beat tackles around the edge. He also can go right through tackles and with elite power. He's very good against the run, and he's a guy that you just get him on your football team and go let him be a dog. And I think that would make a lot of sense for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're looking at pick 80. This is probably where you're taking a look at a linebacker, an off-ball linebacker. Devin Bush, obviously going to be an unrestricted free agent. Where's this linebacker class here? There it is. You see DeMarvion Overshown. You see Noah Sewell, and that's probably the two guys who it's between. I like Owen Popo from Auburn. I like Henry To'oTo'o a lot as well. Here's the deal with DeMarvion Overshown and Noah Sewell. They're very, very different players. Noah Sewell is 6'2", 250 pounds. DeMarvion Overshown has great length. I believe he is 6'3" as well. I'm going to make sure I get his measurements right. DeMarvion Overshown's a guy that I really like as well. He's a converted safety, though, so he's very undersized, 6'4", 225 pounds. He looks like a safety as well. He's not as physical in terms of taking on blocks and getting his nose in the run game, but he's a guy you more trust in space, carrying tight ends up the seam, dropping back in zone coverage, going out and tackling running backs in the flat. Noah Sewell is more of that box linebacker that's going to take on blocks. He's an absolute hammer blitzing as well. So it kind of depends on what kind of linebacker you're looking for. I like Noah Sewell. A guy that's 6'2", 250 and moves like Noah Sewell does. Again, you talk about the NFL draft, you talk about betting on trades. Betting on the guys who have the athleticism and are going to put it together at the next level once this becomes their full-time job. We're going to go with Noah Sewell. Again, he's a guy that was being mocked in the top 20 coming into the year. The film just wasn't that great at Oregon this year. I mean, he sometimes sees the game a little slowly. You worry about the athleticism in space, but the traits you kind of fall in love with, and he's an absolute hammer. At pick 120, you may be looking at like a nose tackle here. I do like Byron Young. You got to go. Kobe Wooden, they have him listed as edge, and he's not necessarily like the nose tackle that the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking for. But in terms of like liking the film, I mean, Kobe Wooden he's really, really fun to watch. He gets penetration like it's his job. I'm pulling up my draft notes on him now. 6'5", 284 pounds. He's a guy that gets behind the line of scrimmage. He also provides a lot of value in the pass rush as well. But he's pretty damn good against the run. And I get he's a little undersized, but you kind of like that fact. And I don't know if we'll take him at pick 120, but Kobe Wooden's a guy that I like his game a lot. And I actually might have just talked myself into taking him. I want to take a look. I like Zach Pickens a lot as well. Zach Pickens is a really interesting guy to take a look at as well. He's a former 5-star, 6'5", 304 pounds, and he's not great against the run, and I think that's what the Steelers are kind of looking for. I'm probably going to go with the guy who's a little bit more the athlete in Kobe Wooden. I know Rock, who hops on a lot, absolutely loves Kobe Wooden. He's a guy that if you want to put a little bit more weight on him, put a little bit more sand in the pants and bolster up that run defense, I think you're looking good too. But you just got Noah Sewell. He's going to massively help in the run game. And then you go get Kobe Wooden, who's solid against the run, but he's also a guy that provides much more value than a guy like Zach Pickens in the pass rush as well. He's a guy you can leave on the field for all 4 downs as well. I think that's a really nice pick here. The Steelers have done a phenomenal job stacking running backs, young running backs on rookie deals, but this is a area where you really like the running backs. I'm probably going to lean away from taking a running back just because that roster is so loaded with running backs. Taking a look at this depth chart, taking a look at some of the guys that are going to free agency, I think interior offensive line could be a nice spot to just go eat your vegetables. I mean, you're picking at 195. You're not necessarily going to get an impact starter in the mid-6th round, but there are some guys who are very, very good interior offensive linemen. A guy like Alex Forsyth's a guy I'm a massive fan of. Juice Scruggs is another guy that I like a lot. We're probably going to go with Alex Forsyth. I like Ricky Stromberg. I'm going to go with Ricky Stromberg. What do you got? Mason Cole starting at center for the Steelers, I believe. Ricky Stromberg's a guy that probably should have left last year, quite frankly. comes back for Arkansas for one more year, he's going to be a guy that's going to be really good in the league. And he's an athletic center that allows you kind of do a lot of things with him if you want to pull him. He's very good at working up to linebackers as well. I think that pick probably makes the most sense for the Steelers. And then at 236, you're kind of looking for a guy that's just going to make the team and maybe taking another look at this linebacking group. I like taking linebackers kind of late in the draft because you know they're going to be solid on special teams and they're going to have a chance at making a team. Carlton Martial is a guy that I really liked. I mean, in terms of production at Troy, he was phenomenal. Over 500 tackles in his career. 55 of those were for a loss, but he's 5'7". Like, he does not have that length that you're looking for. Jeremy Banks would be an interesting guy as well. I want to just take a look at the safety group as well before we kind of settle in on a linebacker. Yeah, we're going to go linebacker. Yeah, once I saw those safeties, we're going to go linebacker. I don't think we're going to go with Carlton Martial, even though he's one of my favorites to draft late. I like Jeremy Banks a lot. Jeremy Banks is a guy that I think is another dude who's criminally underrated. He came in as a very, very high recruit out of high school. He has a lot of good traits that you like, and he balances out Noah Sewell, quite frankly, really well. Noah Sewell is more of a power linebacker who takes on blocks. Jeremy Banks is much more of a spacing linebacker. And so we were talking about picking either DeMarvion Overshown or Noah Sewell, what kind of linebacker you wanted. You're able to get a guy that kind of plays very similar to DeMarvion Overshown late in the 7th round, and Jeremy Banks will be a special teamer as well. See how PFF grades this out. Broderick Jones is solid B. I like Broderick Jones a lot more than PFF does. He's a top 15 guy on my big board. He's offensive tackle. I believe he's sitting at offensive tackle 3 behind Peter Skronsky and Paris Johnson, but I'm a massive fan of Broderick Jones as well. Keely Ringo's another guy that PFF doesn't necessarily value, but he's a top 32 guy on my board, and at a position in need, you're getting a guy with elite traits. I like this draft a lot for the Steelers. Personally, in my evaluation from these college football prospects, is Kobe Wooden's a guy that I like a lot. Noah Sewell, I'm not sold on him, but at some point you got to bet on a big-time athlete in Noah Sewell. And then Jeremy Banks. If the Steelers end up grabbing him in the 7th round, he's a candidate to make the team. He's going to make some noise on special teams. This mock seemed to go pretty well for the Steelers. They give me a B-. I'm used to it. They don't like my prospect rankings as much. We differ a little bit. I think we addressed the positions of need that the Steelers had. I wish we got more of a space-eating nose tackle, but I hate the fact of taking a top 50 pick on a guy like Mozzie Smith or Siaki Ika, who just kind of have limited upside in the pass rush. But again, very successful draft, in my opinion. Let me know in the comment section what position that we might have missed out on. I know you guys are going to say interior defensive line, but I'm telling you, Kobe Wooden, check him out because he's a very, very solid football player. Of course, if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We appreciate the support you guys continually show the boys, and we'll talk to y'all later.